Scottish Government is taking this pandemic very seriously. It is a serious issue. We're doing two things. We're dealing with the sick, those who will get ill because of the coronavirus, and those who are already in our hospitals because they have other things wrong with them. So we are gearing up the health service to treat those who will get sick with this. And the other thing we're doing is we're protecting the population from the virus as much as we can, particularly the vulnerable. We are following both the science and our moment in the pandemic. So every country is at a slightly different stage, and the science and the health services in each of the countries is slightly different. So we have Scottish population, we have Shetland and Partick and Musselburgh. So we've got to adapt the WHO guidelines and the science from around the world that we're learning from to the Scottish context. We shouldn't obsess over the virus. The WHO actually have some really interesting and quick guidelines about what you should do. One of them is you probably shouldn't spend more than 15 minutes at a time watching and looking at virus type media. Now that's tricky for me, it's become my job, but for others, take some time away. That might be a video game, it might be talking to your granny, it might be just eating your dinner without the phone. So I think there's something about balance in there, about still paying attention, being informed, but not being obsessed. Hand sanitizers are great. They're second best to soap and water. So you can't have missed all the videos online with the songs you should sing. It might be the Proclaimers, it might be Queen for me, but I'm not sure this demographic will know who they are. It might be Happy Birthday. So you should do that for 20 seconds, and there's videos on Young.scot about how you should do that with interlocked fingers and making sure your thumbs are covered. That's really important. Soap and water is best. Hand sanitizer, second best, but still really good. Masks are not helpful or useful for those with no symptoms. So masks walking around the street or at school or college or work, they don't work. We've got millions of masks, and we're going to use them for our healthcare workers to help treat those who have the virus and have symptoms. That's when masks are useful. We don't want to close schools. We think they're a really important resource, both for education generally, but also education about the virus. They're helpful when my sister-in-law lines all the P1s up and they learn to wash their hands at the school. That's a really good thing. The other thing is that kids, whether we like it or not, will gather in other places. So we're just moving that challenge to somewhere else. And the third challenge is that a lot of kids in schools are looked after by healthcare workers, policemen and women, people who we need in the emergency services just now to help us look after the sick. We would not want to cancel them lightly. We would want them to go ahead. It may be that we're at the stage when the viral numbers are so high that we do have to make some difficult choices in there. Until that happens, unfortunately, you should carry on as normal. So you should just carry on as if everything is going to be on. And we will let you know as soon as we make a choice about that. I think it would be great if you and your friends could help us. We need every member of society to step up. Now, what does that mean for young people in the community? Well, it might be different depending on where you live, but I can imagine maybe dropping a little note through your neighbours' doors to say, is there anything I can do for you? Here's my number. We could go and get your shopping for you, or we collect your medicines, or we could walk your dog, or we can just speak to you if you're lonely or worried or because you're self-isolated. I think there's also something about helping each other, the young people, you coming together and helping one another, not to worry too much, to keep it in perspective. So if you have questions and or if you're worried about this position we're in the country, then there are two principal places where you can get information that will help you. The website for the whole country is nhsinformed.scot. And that has all the up-to-date information about the guidance we're putting out about who has symptoms and what they have to do, and which people have to stay home and not, and what staying at home actually means, because that needs explanation. The other place you can get information, particularly for you, is, you won't be surprised to hear, the Young Scot website. They have a site that's being updated all the time with the latest information for you.